Matt.
And interwebs.
I, of course, am Scott. Every time I play rock, paper, scissors, I win with a chainsaw car. And with me, as always, is...
Robert. I walked into a barber as John Lennon and came out as Duke Nukem. James.
Gotta work on the voice a little.
Well, you know, I have...
You're no John St. John.
No.
But
no.
then, who is?
But I'm hung like John St. Holmes.
Yeah. Okay.
70s porn stars, give us a like.
Just keep telling yourself that. Okay, so we are two guys who watch movies and apparently reference porn stars once in a while. And today we are two guys who talk about movies.
Classic porn stars.
Whatever. And today we are two guys who talk about movies. And the movie we're talking about today is probably pretty much never heard of a movie called Spare Parts. This is what happens when you go and walk around Walmart looking for a DVD that you can't find, and you just pick up something random off the shelf just because it looked cool.
Good things. Good things happen.
Maybe. We'll see. So, do you want to get right into it, or do you want to mention the title?
I've got a quick synopsis.
Oh, yeah, but did you want to mention the title of the show?
That this is unscripted and mostly harmless? It's almost like you did a week, like that was intentional.
I so could have just let him go.
And I would have just cut it in there.
Then in editing, he'd be like, oh, that bastard.
Me?
No,
okay, you're right.
You call me a bastard in editing because you're like, he stopped me from saying the name.
I'm excited to talk about this movie.
I don't know why.
Okay.
But you said you had a synopsis.
I do.
Okay.
Gem and the Holograms are performing at one of their awesome venues. And everybody thinks they're great. Except for one guy. He's got other plans. So he kidnaps them. Some alterations are made to their personages. And then they fight Mortal Kombat style. The end.
I'd say that's pretty similar, except for instead Gem and the Holograms, you replace with girl punk band. One of their great places to sing at, replaced with bar in the middle of freaking nowhere. And then Mortal Kombat with gladiatorial matches. But other than that, I mean, you're pretty much close.
Yeah,
pretty much there.
We all see things in different ways.
Exactly. This is Spare Parts. Basically a movie that made with a low budget by a very small independent company, and that I get the impression they really were really into this film.
This movie is what happens when you make a film with chains you find in your couch.
I think they had a little bit more than that, but not much more than that. And if I remember correctly, I think they had like a 7-day shooting schedule on this. So the fact they were able to pull this together is just insane to me. But as always, we will be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we'll be saying some good things and some bad things about this film. So let's not waste any more time, because we already did, and go straight to the good. You want to start with the good? Because you're really excited about this movie. I mean, you're far more excited about this film than I am.
We're going to go with, right off the bat, for unknown actors and actresses. I thought the acting was very good.
I'll even take that one step further and mention the fact that one of the guys who plays kind of more of a villainous role, who I just was figured he was an actor like the rest of them. Turns out he's not. He's a stand-up comic, never acted a day in his life. They thought he would be great for the role, and yeah, could have fooled me. I thought he was an actor.
You know how to put on a show.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
not bad.
Yeah, couldn't tell at all.
No.
Good direction. Now again, you have to take in mind this is not big budget Hollywood.
No.
But the props were mostly practical. Good stuff. I mean, all around, in just the filmmaking process, it was good.
Actually, yeah, another good was, you know, they had some practical gore effects that weren't bad. I was impressed by some of the effects they did. And there's a behind-the-scenes video on the DVD that actually shows how they did some of it. And actually, yeah, you know, it's obvious that they're a company. The special effects company is not a big budget company. I mean, you could tell just from
Oh yeah.
the stuff they have on hand and stuff like that, and yet they still pull it off. So props to them. Seriously.
It was kind of your old school prop
Yeah.
house, prop
Yeah.
production.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, they didn't have a lot of fancy stuff there. They're really
Very little CGI, which
Yeah.
was thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well, because they had a little bit of it, but thankfully, yeah, not too much. In fact, the most CGI I noticed, about the only bad CGI I noticed, anyway, was some fake blood. But yeah, it's pretty obvious. But it is what it is.
Yes.
I wasn't even going to mention that in the bad, so that's why I'm mentioning it now here in the good, because honestly, it's not that bad. It really isn't. Any other goods?
The story, the plot, I found it 100% more believable than Black Widow.
Considering how much you didn't like Black Widow's plot at all, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. The bad guys were nice and bad, but they're spoiler alerts.
Oh, you want to give away spoilers?
Yeah,
for this?
there's gonna be some
Well,
spoilers.
I was trying to not spoil this at all, if possible. If possible.
I'm gonna put the spoiler alert up anyway. But I'll try not to spoil it.
Okay.
The motivation of the bad guy, and I think I can say this without spoiling it, it's basically a cult who believes that the blood that is shed during combat feeds the gods, which in turn the gods smile on them. Their crop is good, their lives are good, their monetary possessions are good. However, the bad guy knows this is all bullshit and comes out and says it. Oh, that's a spoiler. So the motivation plots, and I know I'm far-fetched with the Black Widow thing, but I found it more believable because there's this middle-aged dude that's using this information he found about this cult to hook up with women. More believable than
I actually got the impression that he just made up the cult.
No, it was they established. They had a book. She was
Okay.
actually reading from the history of
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't an
I
established thing.
I missed that part. I got the impression that he basically started this cult, and he just, because he's kind of charismatic, he was able to convince everyone of this, and then he made up all the rules and stuff like that.
No matter how you cut it, it's all about control of the weak.
The guy who plays the villain, whose name I, of course, don't remember, but I did look him up. He is
This guy.
He's a character actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. Played the villain great. I was really happy with the villain, and that's the thing. I really like when you got these campy B type of movies like this. You got to have a good villain, because if you don't have a good villain, even if you got good people playing the main characters, you care less about the film. It's not as much fun. You want to have a villain to root for, or to root to get killed, one of the two, or both.
In that good, I also want to say the character arcs. Mm-hmm. Some of them are arc up, and some of them are actually arc down.
Yeah.
So another good. And my last good, the black guy does not die in the end.
Ready to die. So fight for your life.
And he's a semi-hero.
Yeah, and say
let them figure it out from there.
I say sort of on both of those. So, but you'll have to watch the movie to see what I mean.
Exactly.
All
that
right.
was a hook.
Yeah, we'll see about that. All right. So, anything else you want to say on the good? No. Well, then we're going to have to move on to the bad.
Show that cute little anime devil.
All right. So, moving on to bad. You want to start with the bad, or you want me to start with the bad?
Oh, you start with the bad.
Okay, so first off, the plot line that he just said was so great. It's bare bones the best. The whole point of this is just to get the girls there so we can have these gladiatorial matches. And I know you liked it. I know you were like, oh, this is such a great plot line. It's like, there's almost nothing to this.
Bare bones is great, though.
It's so bare bones.
It's simple and it works.
There's so little here. There's so very little here. Because most of it is just the battles. It's more focused on the battles. And here's the thing. If you're there for the battles, which we kind of were. It's not necessarily a bad thing totally, but that's our job here is to point out what's bad. And honestly, a really simple plot line like that's not necessarily good. Not when technically you could have had a bit more to it. In fact, they do kind of have bits and pieces of more. Like the son is against the father and he wants to take it over, but that goes nowhere. The father doesn't actually believe in all this. That goes nowhere. It's just a neat little thing that they kind of threw in there and then did nothing with it. They have a whole plot line set up where the two sisters that are trying to get them against each other kind of goes nowhere.
I could not possibly disagree with you anymore.
So
there was a conclusion to every branch in the plot.
I don't completely agree with that.
Anyway, I can't because we're not spoiling it. I can't go into it. But
no,
just watch it yourself.
Yeah. So personally, I just felt there was a huge amount of plot here. It just felt to me like it was bare bones. So that's my first bad.
My only bad, and I don't think I'm not spoiling anything because we actually went through this in the beginning, is that things are amputated and a weapon is placed where their hand used to be.
Yeah.
And the weapon was things like a hook, a knife, an axe. Things that you could hold in your hand and wield much easier than being attached to. So my bad was these should have been a chainsaw, a gun, I don't know, what's that thing that can rip through anything? Like, ripsaw. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's my bad.
But those weren't real warriors.
Yeah, the one girl later on gets the chainsaw arm, and I did forget to put that in the good.
A flamethrower.
The one guy has the flamethrower. Yeah. So they did think of those things. It's just that they.
Yeah, it took so long to get there.
Well, not only that, but I think that they just didn't have enough ideas because they did come up with a flamethrower. They did come up with a chainsaw. They did use them, but then they needed more arms.
And
basically.
And there's a shooting thing where the chick can shoot nails.
Yeah.
But still, these are all things you could have done with two hands.
Well, yeah, and that was actually a thing I was going to kind of mention as bad as well. Is like, what was the point of chopping the arms off? Because I get it. I get the whole premise of this was supposed to be that they're going to mutilate them to turn them into kind of like badass warriors, and then have them fight. But you had mentioned this, and I totally agree with this. You were mentioning why not have them fight first, and then if they lose a limb, you replace it with a weapon? Or B, if they get damaged in any way, every time they get damaged in some way, they use that as an excuse to add something to them, to give them more stuff. It's supposed to be like their battle scars are turning into weapons, that sort of thing.
A little more cyberpunk, a little less Deus Ex.
Yeah. Honestly, if they had gone more sci-fi with this and were turning them into cyborgs, to me that would have made even more sense than we just chop off everyone's arm and replace it with a weapon. And that's the thing, it was always the arm.
It was never the leg.
And I think it was always the one arm, well, except for the one girl
had
the one leg.
Yeah, but that wasn't a weapon. That was they could still walk.
That was to prevent her from escaping. I got the impression because it gave her a limp, basically. Yeah. And it was the leg works, but barely,
Yep.
So, it was an interesting idea, not a great execution because you could have done more with it. Now, honestly, it could have also been a part of the budget. It could be a budget restraint. Maybe they couldn't do what they wanted to do. I understand that totally. If that's the case, then pretty much my bad is mixed there. But otherwise, I think that they could have done more with it, where they could have just turned them into cyborgs or something, or like I said, you had mentioned, where they start off just holding the weapons and battling with weapons, and when they lose limbs or something like that, they're quick to bandage them up and replace those
Get it
limbs
back
with
out there.
weapons. And I think that would have been cool, because imagine then they could have ended up with both arms with axes or something like that. Although, how the hell did someone would have to feed them?
How would you wipe your ass?
You wouldn't. Someone else would have to do it for you. Basically, that's how that works. And then I have one more bad. Normally, I'm not the person to mention anything when it comes to camera work, lighting work, any of that stuff, because I don't know any of this stuff. Usually, that's Robert, and I am shocked that Robert's not going to mention this on here, unless this is your ugly. No, you don't have an ugly that mentions camera work, lighting work, nothing like that. So I am shocked that you're not mentioning this. But there's a thing. I'm trying to remember exactly the term of it. I'm going to get the name wrong. Maybe you're going to have to correct me on this. I want to call it color absorption, color draining, when the color mixes in with your background and all that stuff.
Yes. So if you have a green and another green, the green setting on top of the green, you blend.
Yes.
Yes. Color absorption, yeah.
Oh my God, there's so much of that in there. They had these purple
There's
lights.
a lot of black on black. Yeah, you're right.
And it's in dark. They're in this dark area, and oh my God, just everything turns purple at certain points. I can't tell where some of the people are sometimes. It got bad, and it's just like, okay, someone messed up here.
I did notice some scenes, but I assumed it was because usually it was during a fight scene or an action scene, and they were using it to hide the budget, which is why it didn't bug me.
Most of the times you're right, but then all of a sudden they would stop fighting and they would talk, and it's like, it's still there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, ooh, no, that's bad.
Okay.
You know, but you're right though. If they had just been for the fight scenes, then I'd be more forgiving on that. I wouldn't even listed it. But even when it was happening, when they're like in the middle of a fight scene and they're having conversations, like, this is a problem, because I can't tell which of the girls are talking now. I know these two girls are the main characters.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure who was talking with who, you know, because I can recognize the voices to a point, but at the same time I was getting confused as to who was talking about what and where they were at, and that was another thing. Also in the fights, certain scenes really well done for the fights, had no problem following it. Other times I was getting mixed up. I had a hard time figuring out exactly who was fighting who, what they were doing. And it was only certain scenes, certain fights. Other ones, well choreographed. So it was half and half. I don't know if they had two choreographers and one was better than the other or what. All I know is that half of the scenes I had no trouble figuring out exactly how the fights were going and who was doing what. And then other scenes, it was a mess. I just had no clue what was happening.
It was the same guy. It's just, as the scenes progressively got worse, he got more and more into his whiskey.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go with that. It's like, just same guy. Just some days he was drinking more, and some days he was drinking
Sometimes
less.
the flask was full. Sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so that's that. Any more bad?
No.
Okay, so on to the ugly. Do you have an ugly?
I have a softcore ugly.
Ah, softcore ugly. Well,
Neither one of us is wearing the damn shirt.
we don't have to wear it every single time.
We failed.
We don't have to wear it every time.
Well,
I'll wear it when I feel like
on
it.
the last video you couldn't see it
Yeah.
because of the washout.
Oh, sure. Well, this one I wanted to have something with a skull on it, so of course Punisher. Yeah.
I see.
Although I should have saved it. I should have had it for Black Widow. Marvel. I wasn't even thinking. But anyway, what is your softcore ugly?
My softcore ugly is there's not a sequel and I need one.
Wow.
That's my ugly.
You know this just came out, right?
I know, but I checked the internet. I looked at their website.
That doesn't mean anything. It takes time, man. You
I
gotta get
want
time.
a sequel
You gotta get in time.
now,
Takes a while. No. Not
especially how you ended it.
now. No. Not
That's
now.
all I'm saying.
Not now. No, it takes some time.
But anyway, that's
All
my ugly.
Okay. Well, you're softcore ugly. You don't
My
have an ugly.
I really don't have an ugly for this. No.
I have an ugly.
Oh boy.
Oh, I got an ugly this time. So I've mentioned this many times. If you've seen any of our videos with horror films, I've mentioned this a bunch of times, and I'm a strong believer in this. A lot of times, for you to have a horror film, you have to have someone do something stupid. That definitely happens here, but my God, was it stupid! Like, it was really, really stupid. All right, so we have a bunch of girls who end up having basically a car accident. Their tires get blown out.
Look at this. Ew. What kind of cannibal hillbilly shit is that?
And they are picked up by the sheriff and the tow truck. Okay, he's going to take them to a place to get the car fixed, right? All right. Makes sense?
Fixed.
They take him to a junkyard.
What is this place?
This is over 30 acres of scrap metal.
Okay, that's red flag number 1. I'm not saying this is the ugly right here. I'm just saying that's...
You're building the ugly.
I'm building up to it. This is what I'm just saying. That's red flag number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But you're right. Other places, this could be legitimate. And even he says, well, this junkyard just happens to have this guy runs it. He's the best guy to work on your car. You want this guy fixing your car. It's okay. Okay, you can get away with that. All right? So then they take the girls to a little waiting room or whatever. And the one girl decides to leave to go to talk to her boyfriend. And as she's walking around...
I'm not her boyfriend. That's another ugly.
Yeah. As she's walking around, she starts noticing some strange things. That's red flag number 2. Right there.
Yeah.
Then, she notices there are people inside the cars, banging on the windows like they're trapped inside. This is red flag number 3. And she's still talking to her boyfriend and tells him, oh, hold on a second. Well, she tries to talk to the person inside the car to get a better idea what's going on here. When she comes to the conclusion, this isn't right, I need to warn the others. She then does the ugly. She does the stupidest thing in the entire film. She hangs up on the boyfriend.
I'll call you back.
She doesn't tell him, oh shit, we're in trouble, call the cops immediately. She doesn't dial 911. She just says, I'll call you back. Hangs up on the guy who's asking her what's going on, what's happening. Hangs up on the guy, puts her phone away, and runs to the others to let them know that she's finding, people trapped in cars with giant hamster water things. What it looks like to me, anyway.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
It looked like freaking water containers with a little hose, kind of like what you see with a hamster. Just, to keep them alive. It's possible. I don't know. They never explain it. They never tell you what the whole deal is.
Bobby,
with those things.
open the windows. Time for your gerbil feed.
Yeah, exactly.
Put in a big gerbil pellet.
Yeah, except, no, the windows would open from outside, not the inside, because otherwise they would just
That's true.
escape.
That's true.
Obviously.
That's true. So you have to do it like a fish tank.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, that's my ugly. My ugly is, my God, there's no reason this should have even happened, because she was able to talk to someone on the phone. She could have right then and there just gotten the police. And even then, to take the stupid one step further, her boyfriend, worried about her, concerned because she hung up on her, it was acting so weird before she hung up on him, decides to go looking for her for himself without asking anybody or talking to any police or anybody at all whatsoever, so they have no idea that he's even out there looking for them.
Careful. Just careful.
I'm just saying, yeah, I know you're worried about spoilers, but no, I'm not. That's as far as I'm going. I'm just saying, that's a lot of stupid. Long story short, that's a lot of stupid.
Too late.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. So that's an ugly. That is definitely an ugly. Because there's so many other ways you could have done this to make it. Heck, you know, she could have stayed in the freaking room, made the phone call. You could have had her and her sister going back and forth on the whole thing, like them acting weird, because the whole thing is that she's worried about whether or not the guy and her sister might be getting together. So you could have had that tension in the same room.
I don't see it as
and then
ugly.
she wouldn't have discovered the other stuff, and then she would have been with them when they did the whole thing that caused him to pass out.
In the moment, the way they filmed it, we disagree.
Yeah.
I think that was exactly how a human would react.
Yeah, I disagree totally, yeah, because as far as I'm concerned, if I see some messed up stuff like that, no, I would...
Oh, you would go grab your machete and say it's party time. Don't even say you would.
Beside the point, I still would have told the person on there to call the cops because I'm about to kill a bunch of people.
I can see you with a tablet and a chisel going, the body count's about to rise.
Count's about to begin. Actually, I wouldn't say rise, I'd say begin.
Well, that's fair.
That's just me. All right, I think we've gone on a tangent long enough. Let's give some coffee cups to this thing.
All right.
All right, you first. You going to do some algebra on this one?
I am. You have seen this movie. If you've been watching movies ever, you have seen this movie. The plot, we've done it. The action, we've seen it. The blood, oh yeah. Yeah, Sam Raimi was doing it 20 years ago. But, with that said, I have to go 4.
Okay.
Beautiful, arranged coffee cups. Mm-hmm. And because they had the balls to do this movie in 2021, I'm going to give it 5.
Damn. You never give anything 5.
It was a breath of fresh air to just see a production company go, yeah, we're making a cheesy horror film, and you know what? We're going for it. I loved it, man. You're going, I'm going to make Robert suffer. And I'm just going, every second I'm going, more.
Oh, I didn't say I was going to make you suffer. I just said, hey, you got to watch this.
Yes, we did, and it was awesome.
And that was before I seen it, by the way. Before I saw it, I was like, dude, I picked up this movie. It
looked horrible by the DVD cover.
Absolutely horrible. I was like, we got to watch this. Okay, so you gave it 5.
5, absolutely 5.
So
you're right up there with Day of the Dead as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. So here's the thing. Me, once again, I feel that it was lacking substance. As I mentioned, he's going to disagree with me, but I still feel it lacks substance. But is it fun?
No. Not to interrupt. I completely agree this lacking substance. Don't get me wrong.
The difference is you don't think that's a problem.
I don't think it mattered in this movie.
Yeah,
Carry on.
I think it did. But anyway, I feel it lacks substance. However, is it fun? Yes. Is it entertaining? Yes. I still enjoyed it. I don't know if it really garners repeat viewings, but other than that, you probably would watch more than once. But me personally, I don't know if I'd watch it again. But it's definitely still a fun, entertaining ride. However, the fact it lacks substance and that stupid thing at the beginning is just going to drive me up a wall. For me personally, I give it 2.5 out of 5.
All right. That's our honest review. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm still not as bad as you with your Black Widow. Jeez.
You know, after I watched that video, I wanted to take a half a cup away.
Oh my God, you would.
If I had a choice between we watching Black Widow and this, no contest.
Yeah, same here. I watched Black Widow again.
No. Black Widow would be in the fireplace, and this one would be in my DVD player.
Which means I'm going to have to go back home and watch Black Widow. He'll have to go back home and watch the reverse.
Which I did buy it on Amazon. Put it that way. If that tells you anything, I'm pretty cheap. I haven't bought a DVD in years. Since we did the Stephen King thing. That's the last time I bought a DVD.
Oh, there you go.
But it'll be here soon.
There you go. Cool.
So, definitely worth a watch.
So, there you go.